Good morning, everyone. My name is Sean Harris from the Board of Selectmen. It is Friday morning, about 10 o'clock. I'm sitting here at Scituate Town Hall with our Town Administrator, Jim Boudreau. We're both here to give you the latest update on the coronavirus situation. First, I'll turn it over to Jim Boudreau to talk about the latest events that have happened that have come down from the state and how it's going to affect us and what we're doing to prevent any further outbreak. And after that, we'll talk to you about a little bit about some of the programs that are going on in town outside of Town Hall.
So thanks, Sean. As of right now, there are 7 confirmed COVID-19 cases in Scituate. 2 of those cases have finished their quarantine period. A third is actually finishing their quarantine period today. However, the number of cases in the state continues to spike upward. That was expected. We are basically trying to find out how many people have COVID-19, and once we know how many people have it, then we'll be able to determine whether or not the governor's current stay-at-home direction is working, where those numbers start going. So, as everybody knows, we talked about last time, the governor has ordered all essential businesses closed. It doesn't apply to supermarkets, gas stations, and pharmacies, and restaurants are still doing takeout as long as they follow DPH protocols. That stop work order does not apply to public construction. We've gotten some calls about that. So the public construction project at the Scituate High School and at the Council on Aging are not covered by the governor's order. We've actually received specific direction from the governor's office that those projects are allowed to go forward. They have provided us with protocols to be used at those construction sites. We have passed that on to the project managers and to the construction workers, so they will be able to follow those protocols at those sites. So if people are wondering why those are still operating, the governor's directive specifically exempts those. Also, as we talked about last week, the golf course maintenance people will be working. If we don't prepare the golf course, if you lose a green, if you lose a fairway, you're not going to get it back. So we need to keep those maintained. They also are provided with protocols that they need to follow to stay safe while maintaining the golf course. Since our last meeting, I think the big update is the governor has ordered all schools closed through May 4th. Originally, they were going to open next week. I know Ron and Griffin and his staff have been working to deal with that change, and they're expecting to have some communication out to the school population probably later on today as to how they're going to proceed with education over the next month. But people should be looking for that later on this afternoon, first thing tomorrow. Right now, if you need information from the town, the best place to go to is the town website, scituatema.gov. You should sign up for our code red so you get our reverse 911 calls. The senior center is operating. We still are providing Meals on Wheels. We still are providing emergency transportation for doctor's visits, for groceries, for pharmacies. All town departments are responsive. The town buildings are closed. We are on a reduced staff right now, dealing with our critical tasks, but if you call into a town department and leave a message, someone will get back to you. And all our departments have email, whether they're working from home or working in the office. So if you email people, they can get back to you also. I know the town treasurer's office has spent a great deal of time the last couple of days processing all the transfer station stickers that are coming in. So people pay for those online. We mail out the stickers. I know they've been very busy on that. Probably the biggest update, as I said the other night for Scituate, is the transfer station is open. It is open regular hours, but we ask you to get in, get out, maintain your social distancing to the extent possible while you're in there. If you need information on state-funded programs, food stamps, unemployment, go to mass.gov, COVID/COVID-19, and get all your information on that. I have been asked to pass along some words about our conservation property. Our conservation property is open. The Driftway Park seems to be our most popular park. There's a lot of dog walkers, a lot of people down there. It does get a little crowded. If you go down there and you don't think you can maintain social distancing, be aware that the town has many other conservation properties that have walking trails, including the Ellis property, the Hubbard property, the Hingham McAllister properties, and the Bates Lane property. And if you go to the town website under the Conservation Commission and click Conservation Land, you can get trail maps for each one of those properties, where to park, where to go, where to walk. So we do have some other places for people to go because Driftway Park does get a little crowded. At this point, again, we are open for business to the extent possible. We will do everything we can to help you out, to make sure you have all the information you need. Town meeting has been posted for the 13th. We will most likely be postponing that within the next couple of weeks, once the legislation giving the moderator that authority passes, and I would assume we're going to postpone that at least into May, given the governor's school order. That's what I have at this point, Sean.
Great, Jim. Thank you very much. You did provoke me to take a couple notes and ask a couple of questions, if you don't mind. Walkways, you mentioned, are open, but our parks, fields, and things are not. Can I ask you, what about the golf course? I mean, there's so many acres there, and if people can keep far enough apart, what are your thoughts on that?
Right now, the golf course is closed to people.
Right.
Because we're working on it. The
Oh,
maintenance
that's
crews
right.
are out
I'm
there,
sorry.
they're
I'm
working.
sorry. That's right.
If we get to the point where we're not opening the golf course to golf, but a lot of the heavy maintenance work is already done, we can talk about then opening the golf course to walkers. But right now, it'll remain closed because we're doing the work to get the course open, so there's a lot of maintenance equipment, there's a lot of work going on, and we don't want people walking out there.
That's right. Okay, sorry about that. Jim, you talked about our jobs, and I know it's not our purview, but people that are having work done privately, trees, landscaping, things like that, can the town handle any of those calls, or what advice would you give to those people, especially if it's outside and it's warm?
So landscaping, tree work is still, the guidance on that hasn't been great. The public, Board of Public Health here has been saying to landscapers and things, if you can maintain your public distancing, social distancing, then we are not shutting those down now. We have asked for guidance from the state on those, but as of right now, those are more a business decision whether or not they're operating, as opposed to there's a hard shutdown from the state, because the guidance on that is not good.
Great, all right, okay, well, thank you. And then calling in, if people had questions, you already addressed that. And then if they do call in, things like building permits or sign-offs and things like that, they could probably certainly leave a message for somebody.
They can leave a message. The
And
inspectors
stuff.
are still doing inspections right now. We are trying to limit that to the extent possible to outside inspections.
Okay.
Unfinished spaces. On a case-by-case basis, the local inspector will make a decision whether or not they will go into a house or a building, but that's going to be up to the inspector at this point, whether they can go in and safely social distance and maintain their health going in there. But we are working, we are doing building permits, we are doing inspections. Those are all going on.
All right, okay, well, thank you very much. In closing, I just, as a resident of Scituate, not so much a member of the Board of Selectmen, I'd just ask, that people could look for an elderly neighbor, or keep your eyes and ears open, see if they can't help somebody out. And it might be something as simple as taking their, solid waste to the transfer station, or what it might be, maybe do an errand for them, especially elderly people. And I would also turn everyone's attention to our SANS program that we have here in town that was formed about almost 10 years ago. I think Scituate is so unique that it has a program like this. A lot of towns are faced with natural disasters, but I think this kind of grew out of a coastal storm we had and has really flourished. And, there's a lot of resources folks can use by reaching out to them, either online or by telephone. Let's see, the food pantry is open, it's set up, it's a non-contact protocol, for folks to get their food. If they need a phone number, it's 781-545-5827. They can leave a message. Someone will get back to them and get in contact with them to fill their needs. And then finally, the Council on Aging is standing by to assist any residents as this stay-at-home mandate continues. And the COA administers the Wheels on Meals program, as well as arranges transportation for medical appointments, those that still may have some. Trips to the grocery store, the pharmacy, and so forth. And they can be reached at, their phone number is 781-545-8722. And
I think one more reminder, we just want to make the people, it's going to be a nice day today. It's going to be warm out. Your grandmother was right. Cover your mouth when you sneeze, wash your hands. But it's important that people know, the basketball courts are closed, the athletic fields are closed. Do not come out and congregate in those areas.
And it's very tempting. The kids get out, they think it's great to get out and get fresh air, but if they do...
Yeah, basketball...
Especially...
If you're playing good defense, you sure aren't social distancing.
That's right.
So just though they're closed, the police will be going through and making sure the kids aren't congregating, but do not go to places where you know there's going to be a lot of people and you won't be able to safely social distance.
Right. I think I've been thinking about this for weeks and weeks. I think the better job we do of it, the soonest we can, the sooner this will be behind us.
The sooner people take it seriously and stay home and social distance, the sooner you'll be able to stop social distancing because we'll get through this quicker. But the longer people ignore the advice that we're getting from the public health professionals, the longer this is going to go on.
Right, right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Thank you very much, Jim.
Sean.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Have a nice weekend.